All right, I've gone ahead and started the recording, and go ahead and start the session. Mark down who's here. And I'm going to give a second here to Colby to see if he gets connected on in. All right. Are you hearing me at this point? Not getting any response. I'm watching the chat box and I don't see anything yet. Are you able to hear me at this point? Okay. I don't know if Colby's going to really join in or not. Because it just keeps saying joining. So if you do connect in, Colby, and hear this, make sure you type something in the chat box to me to let me know you're here. A couple of things to go over today. This is 2413. The materials you're using in this class actually were used last semester, so I don't think you'll have as much of a problem on it because everything's already built. I've already got stuff out there for you. Chapter 1 had you going through looking at TCP/IP, had you look at number systems and how addressing's set up, and worked you through some on that and dealing with some different addressing. And how to do some subnetting and that type of stuff. And then how to set those up, and had you accomplish that both in IP version 4 and IP version 6. Chapter 2 actually gets into configuring your DNS servers, and had you working on that through the chapter, with DNS being the domain name service, and that they go through and teach you some on DNS and how you're going to set that all up in there. And so hopefully that has gone through for you. Make sure I know which weeks where you actually are on stuff. Actually, chapter 2 you're doing this week. So chapter 1 was doing the TCP/IP. But this class, as opposed to my 2412 and 2414, are fully set up, is fully set up. Those two I'm having to set up because it's the first time I'm teaching with those books and with 2016 and those courses. But this one, I did use it last semester, so all of that got done in there. And actually, in the first couple of chapters, I do have notes in there from me having done some of the assignments. An important one in this book and in the other two courses, if you take them now, is the first assignment in each chapter has you restore a snapshot that you've taken of the machines after you originally set them up, as soon as you originally set them up. That way you set them back to the default settings into each chapter and can work on through with them from there. Make sure you are doing screen prints for me of something in each activity. That's my way of knowing that you did the activities. That's not taking a picture with your camera. That's either doing print screen or using the snipping tool to do the screen prints and putting them in Word document. And Word type documents. You could use Word, which schools supply you for free. Save them as either a .doc or .docx document. Could also be done in WordPad, where you can save it as, I think it is .docx. Do not save it as a .rtf or any of those other type formats. Save it as a Word type document. The other part is make the screen prints as large as the width of the editable area of the page. Don't shrink them down, so then I can't read them. Also include the taskbar with the date in those screen prints. But you do have to do the screen prints or you don't get credit for the chapter. So do make sure on that. You've got tests after each chapter, so make sure you do those as you go along. If you run into problems, email me and ask me questions, and I will answer back. Actually, last week, Thursday, I was out on sick leave, but I answered emails all day long, and actually worked like 5 hours or something that day. 4 hours, I think. Friday, I was on annual leave because I was out of town for a doctor's appointment. Either of the taskbars would be fine. Just make sure you do have a Windows taskbar showing the date in the screen prints. To me, it would be easier getting the one in the VM, but if the other one is easier for you, that's fine. So either one, just make sure the taskbar with the date is there. And I answered emails and worked about 5 hours on Friday. Saturday, I was still doing the same and worked 6 hours in classes. And yesterday, a couple hours. And so I've been answering emails all day, every day, and I've answered a ton today. You do want to make sure the time settings are right, because if you don't have the time settings correctly, when you're doing networking, that can cause problems. Because if the machines are not all set according to the correct time for where they are, it will goof things up sometimes. So just be aware of that. All right. So that's the big things on it. Today we are meeting on Monday at 1 o'clock. Next week it will be on Tuesday because Monday is a holiday. It's Memorial Day. So we won't have a session on Monday. Make sure you do type things into the chat box every week in the when you're participating in the live collaborate sessions, because that's the way you participate, is by typing items into this chat box. So make sure you do type things into the chat box, or else you won't get credit for the session if you didn't ever type anything in there. Looking at the chat box right now, I see things from Nicholas, which I've actually commented back to him on. So next week it'll be Tuesday at the same time. The following 2 weeks we'll do Monday at this time at 1 o'clock for the live session. And then the 4th of July weekend, 4th of July actually falls on Sunday this year, so the holiday for American Independence Day is actually on Monday, so the school will be closed on Monday, July the 5th. So we won't have a session that day. We'll have it on Tuesday, July the 6th. There's a few others in there. I'm not sure what's going to happen yet because I've got some things going on with me also. Any questions for me today? Okay. So have you got any questions, Colby? Okay. Because I've had some students in some other classes having issues. I will remind you one other thing. Activation of the product seems to be important to getting domains to work. Always connect to the domains that it wants you to, the products to be activated. If you if your key says you've run out of usage on it, all you have to do is drop me an email and tell me that you need another key, and I'll send you another key. But I have to look it up and get you another key for that. So I can send out more keys as necessary. I've sent a couple of keys this morning. But most people apparently have had no problems on that. But like on screen prints, as I mentioned before, make sure you do make them the full width of the editable area of the page. And I'd recommend you go ahead and use Word to do those in, because you got Word available to you for free from the college anyway. But I do want them in Word type files. So they need to be either .doc files or .docx files. Not sure what you mean by that, of the instructions and the steps not lining up with the activity. As in the steps in the activity, or where are you coming from on that? Okay, there's the first couple of chapters I have gone through the assignments, but I really never got a chance to get beyond that on these. But I know I did go through, looks like I made it through chapter 2, and that I've given y'all comments on, actually in chapter 3, comments on errors that I found where there was some glitches on it. And some of that also is sometimes that this is Server 2016 we're using, which would have come out in late 2015, and this is 2021. So there's been a number of updates to it that have come out since too that could have changed some things of how they had commands on it. But I have not had a chance to go through the rest of the book. That was as far as I've got last semester on it. And actually for this semester, I've got those other 2 courses that are using brand new books this time, which are the same series as this book. So the nice part is they all use exactly the same setups of the basic machines, so that the configs for all of those machines are the same in all 3 classes. So I didn't have to do separate sets of directions. The only one that is slightly different is 2414 has on 2 of the machines, it has them add 2 users onto 2 of the machines. But otherwise, they're exactly the same between them. Whereas before, when we used 2012 and 2008 books by the same author, every book was totally different, and that I was having to try to come up with a set of directions for every one. So I didn't have to do that. Why are you, but from Azure Dev Tools for Teaching, the copy of Server 2016 is data center. And when you're needing to use that rearm on it, that is for when you're using the evaluation copy, which you should not be using. So when you use that key that they supplied you with at Azure, that's to get into data center. And actually the download that you get actually includes all of the different versions. The key is what decides which one it is. If you will write me, I will send you a key. The key for but the key that you, if you're using the key you got from Azure Dev Tools, that would have been for data center, but that would have only been if you downloaded it from Azure Dev Tools for teaching after about late March, 1st of April, because they didn't have 2016 out there until then. You had to get it from me. But you need the key. If you got it from me, you also needed to get the key from me, which should have been for data center, but it could have been for standard. Because last semester I may have given you for standard. But you need to be using the same on them all. Send me an email and I will send you, because that one you just listed, Colby, that's the download you should have. That includes all not from the beginning of the semester last semester, Nicholas, because 2016 was not available to Azure at the beginning of the semester. I fought with them until it was late March, 1st of April, before they finally put 2016 out there. You had to download it from my personal OneDrive, I believe is where or the school's OneDrive that they have copied for me, is where I had uploaded it to, that you downloaded it to. But if you've got that copy, you need to be using the key. You need it. If you went out there and registered again right now for 2016, it would give you a key. It would also want you to download, but you wouldn't need to download since you already got the download. Now, 2412 last semester, I don't know exactly what you used, Colby. You should have been using 2016, but you did not get it from Azure either. I don't know where you would have taken that from Ms. Carney. I don't know where she had you getting it from, but it was not available. At the beginning of last semester, Azure Dev Tools for Teaching did not have 2016 on there. I went around with them from the end of December until they finally got it working somewhere in March, that they finally got the copy there, after they kept trying to tell me it was there and it was there and it was never there. All right, now 2019 is a whole different product than 2016, just like 16 is a different product than 2012. You need to be using 2016 for this class. Okay, now you can use 2019 for doing some other stuff, but this class you need to be using 2019. But if y'all need a key for 2016, data center, write me, and I will send you a key for 2016 data center. But send me an email so that I can send you the key. And that goes for both of y'all, both Colby and Nicholas. And anybody else that's listening to this recording later, if you don't have that, if you may, I've had a few students claim that they could not get them all activated on the one key. If you run into that where you've activated several on the key and then it says that the key has been used already, then just write me and I'll give you another key where you can get the rest of them activated. So send me an email saying you need the 2016 key, and I will send you another key. And it will be for data center is what you're being used, is what you're being sent. Is that straight to everybody now? But don't be using the evaluation with rearming and all of that stuff to it. Apparently my phone just made a weird noise. I have no idea in the world what it would have been. All right, any other questions? If not, I'm going to wrap the recording up. But if you do need a key for data center, write me and I can send you a key.